All right. We're going to get started here. Thanks everyone for joining us today. Let me make sure I have all the right buttons. We are currently recording the session, so it will be made available at a later date once we have everything taken care of. If you are joining us today, please stay on mute for this portion, and then we will be able to check in and have a discussion after this portion is complete. So to start, I just wanted to do welcome. So we're going to do the state of the state. My name is Chris Kane. I am acting as the interim state director, and that sort of gets into our just first general slide where we want to go over generally the roles and responsibilities of the team. So I'm not going to go through down each individual list. You've had a chance to interact with the vast majority of these people, as there many are consistent with what's been happening at the agency for a while. I didn't want to note a couple of things. As you know, the state director position is currently vacant. The position is going to be reposted as we move forward here. So we are hoping to have another opportunity for candidates, and we'll provide more updates to you all as we go for that. In the meantime, I'm operating as the interim state director, so that's a change there. A couple other quick notes. Since the last time we had one of these, we do have a new inclusive practices coordinator in Cassie Santo. She's been doing, we've seen a lot of communications from her around some of the changes for the rule changes and some mentoring programs, as well as some of our statewide consultants. So she's been involved in a lot of those projects. Additionally, we have a new assessment coordinator for special populations. That person is scheduled to start in April. I'm just going to confirm a couple of items, and then we'll get you share out some more information about that person once they are once we have that available to join. So then quick moving on, just reminders of kind of roles and responsibilities that the state director of special ed is responsible in support with our team for ensuring the successful implementation of federal and state statutes and regulations governing education of students with disabilities. And so that's our primary objective, our primary goal. The objectives that we've been working on over the last year have been around increasing graduation rate, closing achievement gaps, decreasing disproportionality, creating a qualified workforce at the state and local levels, and sustaining Vermont's general supervision system for special education. And hopefully you will see through some of the later sections where we talk about activities, sort of the connection and overlap between all the items that we have been engaged in and these primary objectives. Did also want to give a brief reminder as to our general vision statements and purpose. So as at the Agency of Education, we implement state and federal laws, policies, and regulations to ensure all Vermont learners have equitable access to high quality learning opportunities. The agency accomplishes this mission through the provision of its leadership, support, and oversight of Vermont's public education system. That leadership, support, and oversight is a significant focus of all of the work that we do. And then as specifically as a special education team our vision is our team together with all stakeholders ensures access, opportunity, and equity by providing solution-based oversight, leadership, and support to build capacity and improve outcomes for all students with disabilities. So I want to move on briefly to federal updates. So this is going to be a combination of things that we have received from our federal partners, essentially since our last State of the State meeting. So there's quite a few things. This will all be available after the presentation if you would like to sort of pursue the links and learn more information. First things first, message from us and also from us to you is we submitted successfully our state performance plan of an annual performance report on February 1st. So thank you for all of your submissions. and helping us maintain sort of timely and accurate submissions for that reporting process. Recently, we've also received the February OSIP newsletter. So this has resources related to assistive technology and IDEA technical assistance opportunities, visual impairments, and students with significant cognitive disabilities. And I thought this one in particular has a significant amount of other sort of resources and connections, so it's a good one to look. If you do not already get this, I would highly recommend. You can follow the link in this document. And then there's a place on the website where you can get each monthly newsletter as well. Another just quick reminder is sort of discipline decisions, informal removals. This has come up a lot in a variety of contexts throughout the course of this year. We recently received a reminder from our OSEP partners. So the top link here is a sort of blog post that just emphasizes some of the importance of it and then connects to a bunch of the policy stuff below here. So there's guidance, a guidance package in the notes here, as well as sort of Q&A sessions and other resources. So reminders for us and good reminders for the field as well. Generally moving on, some other OSIP communications around personnel qualifications. So this is, again, kind of a reminder of the state's responsibility around personnel qualifications under Part B, and with sort of additional notes around finding opportunities for sorry, there's some interference here. I'm going to manage that. Sorry. So the emphasis here also is on temporary licensures or emergency license. There's some notes in there about that. And that would be sort of the second PDF link here. We also have a memo around the 1% waiver, reminding folks of the requirements for the state to manage the 1% waiver of students taking the alternate assessment. I guess as a reminder, that is a state cap. It is not anything that is imposed on an LEA or a supervisor union or district. Moving on, we also have some civil rights announcements on related to the needs of students with disabilities during the pandemic. I think these are items that have also been shared before. So again, just reminders to access some of those resources. We also have the 2020 indicator analysis nationally. So it's just a review of all the various indicators on a national level. And finally, we have a number of older ones that came out a little bit after our last session. We have resources related to racial equity. We have some our determination letters, and we have an investigation of the technical assistance, which is about different aspects of special ed and early intervention. So just other resources available for you all. Again, this will be made available after the presentation. So now we're going to move on to a selection of state activities. It is fairly impossible to list everything that the team does. We have, as we showed at the beginning, a pretty extensive group here. So we're going to hit some of our big activities, and particularly ones that are related to those objectives above. Just sort of starting at base level, we try and maintain sort of communication by having maintaining a director's check-in. We do manage daily technical assistance calls and emails. We work collaboratively with our internal teams, particularly on all areas where they intersect with students with disabilities, and particularly we work with early MTSS and VT MTSS. We've done quite a lot of preparation for potential future OSEP visits for Vermont. Internally, we maintain data quarterly meetings where we have an opportunity to review various data sets, which are sort of inform our strategic planning and supports for the field. On kind of an external level, we do a lot of consultation and project planning with our national technical assistance providers. The initials here are not super specific for this, but there's a number of our national partners who support us in sort of making all the policy decisions that impact all of you. We also participate in national technical assistance calls with OSEP, representing Vermont, and we also have monthly check-ins with OSEP. And additionally, we're also frequently engaged with panels, and particularly the Special Education Advisory Panel. Did want to return to briefly our state performance plan. As I said, we had an on-time submission for this year's state performance plan. We every year there's a clarification period in April where they return questions to us, where we have an opportunity to update the submission before the final submission period in June. Throughout this time and beyond, we are continuing to review data and planning for improvement activities, some of which you see in the form of some of the sessions that we've held, potentially related to some of our indicator work, like post-secondary transition plans and indicator 13. We continue to support specific indicators through improvement activities or integrated monitoring. That might be, as I said, specific sessions related to indicator 13 or 11 that I know many of you have attended. We also do individualized support when requested. We've also undertaken revisions to forms and various surveys. And also related to some of the work here, so our state systemic improvement plan is an indicator we report on, so there's some information included in this section as well, where we have updated that to expanded that to support 10 districts currently, and the focus is on improving math through systems work and through improvement of math instruction. We also wanted to highlight that we have 3 further districts who are engaged in the work of significant disproportionality. This work is very complex, and we sort of commend their change practices and their work regarding inequities in special education. So it's a further 3 districts there engaged in significant disproportionality work. Wanted to highlight a couple of items related to post-secondary transition. We have a link where there's a number of resources and materials, and we expect there to be updated recordings of recent trainings to be made available. We're also anticipating sort of a new comprehensive manual, transition planning resource. And additionally, I'm going to put out a plug here for any LEAs in Chittenden County, Rutland, or White River regions. Please consider Project Search as a viable option for students with developmental disabilities to access specialized employment training. Please reach out to myself or John Spinney if you have questions or are interested in learning more about that. And also wanted to highlight that we do have staff available to support LEAs prior to any monitoring cycle related to post-secondary transition, the next upcoming one being the cyclic monitoring cycle. Referring back to other previous work, we have a number of items related to the special education rule changes. We have obviously the website that took us up through last summer. There will be some updates to that, and we will be communicating those out as soon as they are completed. Further, we are collaborating, well, that entire process was a collaboration with early childhood special education, finance, Vermont MTSS, and some of our Act 173 groups. Additionally, we have released the special education evaluations manual. There will be some also updates and additional information related to that coming soon. We increased the emphasis on our systems coach during our state systemic improvement planning work, as also additional way to support rule changes, as a number of the questions and concerns we heard were related to some individualized support around instruction and intervention and other aspects of MTSS. Additionally, we have revised some forms related to the changes in the rules. We have an updated Form 2 that will be available soon as well. Additionally, we've been engaged in weekly newsletters, highlighting resources and responding to questions from folks. And we also have 2 new case study documents where we're walking through the entire evaluation and eligibility process with a single student. And one of those is currently available, and there's another one that will be available shortly, which sort of walks through all of the entire process and all the forms necessary to complete that. So upcoming related to rule changes, we have a session on Thursday. So if related to priorities and what's the word? Priorities and emphasis for general education staff members. We're also doing one related to CEIS and adverse effect. SLD and functional skills will all be represented in upcoming sessions. Many of those have been scheduled already, so you will have invites for some, but please be on the lookout for others. In addition, there will be more materials outcoming with resource documents, webinars, and additional case studies. We've also spent a significant amount of time working on our critical shortage areas. We've heard certainly a lot throughout the year about the challenge there. That is the emphasis behind the change in the mentor model. We've been working to ensure sustainability with that program. We have continued to work with our national provider, CEDAR, through the task force on increasing availability of staff. We engaged on a formal listening tour for feedback and future improvements for our local model. And we have ongoing conversations with our OSEP lead and getting information about what other states are experiencing as well. In monitoring, we have published a targeted monitoring guide that provides LEAs with specific information related to this more intensive level of monitoring. We have updated the submission process. We've implemented a calendar request system for more individualized sessions. There are weekly office hours on rotating topics. And want to issue a congratulations to all districts who recently made their cyclic monitoring ones. And this was this note about Wednesday was when the rescheduled one, so ignore the Wednesday date here. We applaud all the efforts underway by targeted monitoring districts. They continue to work on improvement items and develop new ways to monitor their alignment with IDEA and the state board rules. A few other items here. We have also been working with statewide consultants, and by that we mean several groups who are partially grant funded through statewide appropriations. So that supports students who are deaf and hard of hearing, blind and visually impaired, and have multiple or low incidence disabilities. So with those groups, in particular, we've done a lot of interagency collaboration to support students who are deaf and hard of hearing, as well as updated some of our RFP and vendor selection materials for the deaf and hard of hearing work, and that resulted in a new vendor selection. A couple of updates related to Rule 4500. This is not a specific special education rule, though it wanted to recognize the work that some of our team members have put in here. They've updated the list of recommended training programs for the use of restraints and seclusions in August of 2022. And just as a reminder for all LEAs that it is only allowable to use programs that are recommended on the recommended list. So please ensure that all internal and external agencies and vendors under contract are using programs from that published list, which is available online. Again, link in the form here, and this will be made available after the session. Other highlights related to early childhood. Our early childhood team maintained drop-in office hours for C to B transitions monthly through the fall, and those should be returning shortly. Access to the early childhood special ed Padlet was maintained, which is curated resources on early childhood special ed topics and frequently asked questions. There's also a newsletter with state and national resources, current issues in early childhood special education. Please contact Katie McCarthy or the link on the Padlet if you are interested in receiving that newsletter. Also, our early education team has partnered with Pyramid Model Consortium, the University of Vermont, and Pyramid 802 Plus to provide professional development trainings, specifically the early MTSS preschool modules, as well as practice-based coaching and system coaching to implementation sites. We've also been awarded the State Personnel Development Grant in the fall, and we'll be working and providing pyramid model professional development trainings and coaching to IDEA Part C and PBIS to IDEA Part B. It's a lot happening in our early childhood folks as well. Moving to independent schools, want to flag and issue congratulations to the many independent schools who have or are currently in the process for gaining approval. Many schools have engaged in this process as we're making through quite a backlog of site visits. It resulted from the pandemic. If there are folks interested in initial school approvals or program renewals, please contact Pat Pallas Gray. If there are questions related to tuition or rate setting and educational quality, please email Deb Ormsby. And we do also anticipate further guidance related to the revision of the independent school and special education rules coming out this spring. Those rules around independent schools go into effect July 1st, 2023. Additional quick highlights from our data division. So we have all child count submissions, all SUs, SDs have completed those. Upcoming, please expect local APRs and continued data quality checks. In June 30th, 2023, the exiting child count to open in June with a due date of July 17th, 2023. For our finance folks, reminder, the maintenance of effort calculators will be deployed. They are out already, and I believe there have been some trainings that have happened, but these calculators are pre-filled with prior years and test data. We look for the assistance will be beginning in January and should have been available for folks. So if you have questions, please reach out. We've completed our CEIS and CCEIS collections. The service plans are also completed, and December payments and projections are completed as well. Two other highlights related to assessment. As many of you know, we have finalized procurement of a vendor for our alternate assessment with Cognia using the multi-state alternate assessment site. We held office hours related specifically to the alternate assessment throughout the last month and a half or so, and we'll continue to provide upcoming sessions in conjunction with our general assessment going forward, so be on the lookout for information related to that. If you have questions or need any information about our alternate assessment, please visit the website. And just as a reminder, the administration window opens today. Last highlight for alternate assessment, if you have questions around medical exemptions, please reach out to our assessment team and Mabika Goma, and we are following through with that. So this is related to all assessment. This is not specific to the alternate. So as a brief review of some of the activities we've been engaged in since the last State of the State, and I did want to take a final opportunity to just review a couple of resource reminders. We have a website as well as an acronym list that can be helpful when communicating with parents. We do have a specific professional development technical assistance form if you're looking for specific help for your district. The technical assistance system, whether that's email, voicemail, is available 24 hours and 24 hours a day, and we respond within 24 to 48 hours. So we have a phone number and an email address there. All LEAs will also have a regional representative. So if you're looking for other ways to get in contact with us, please contact them. We also have a link with how to schedule monitoring appointments. Additionally, reminders for data requests. Periodically, members of the public may find the additional needs for selecting or requesting state data. There are two mechanisms by which you or other members of the public can request that. We have a data request form, which should be made for simple, non-researched data requests for media stories, simple fact-checking, general investigation answers. We also have a research request application, which is a bit more intensive and specific. So please, if you are looking for additional data, that is how you can request there. And for now, that is sort of the end of our specific session here. I'm going to stop our recording. Pause.